Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be running through the power rankings for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16, Episode 13. We are at the final four. And unless something crazy happens that hasn't happened since Season 8, we're going to have this top four for this year's finale. Let's dive in. If this is the first video of mine that you're watching, this is the criteria I use to create my power rankings. This video is going to be a little bit different because we are at the top four, but still, track record, confessionals, and just general vibes will be taken into account to determine this final four power ranking. Last week, we lost Morphine Love Dion, our confessional queen of the season, the narrator of the season, and the mug of the season. She had no wins, so it shouldn't come as a surprise that she was the one that was eliminated regardless of how well she did on the Makeover Challenge. We all know how controversial the Makeover Challenges can be. They look at Dakota Schiffer over on UK4. But we lost Morphine, and it probably was her time to go. She was a great queen, an entertaining queen, and somebody who we will for sure be seeing on an All-Star season, who is going to have a great glow up when it comes to her performance in the challenges. She's got great drag, she's got great makeup, but she still has some growing to do, and I think that will be a great place for her to showcase that going forward. For today's video, I want to just go over and remember the season for all of these queens and talk about what challenges they win, when did they really excel, and think about how that affected their trajectory on this season and their performance as a potential winner. So, without further ado, let's dive into that. The first queen we'll be talking about this week is Nymphia Wind, somebody who started the season really strong, probably should have won the first challenge as well if it weren't for the Radio Queen twist. And with Nymphia, she had two wins. She won the first design challenge, the ball of all things, with her amazing tie look and amazing other looks throughout the episode. She had some amazing looks throughout the season. Her Snatch Game look, the only time that she really placed low on this season and was at risk of being in the bottom two, she was saved because of an amazing runway. The other challenge that she won was the Girl Group Challenge, where she was in a group with Megami, Geneva Carr, and Maya Iman LePage, and she really was a standout in that group. Even if Megami wrote her lyrics for her, she was still one of the top performers in the group. So two rightfully deserved wins. And since then, Nymphia has been in the top a couple of times for the Drag Race performance, and I guess that was a Drag Race panel presentation office type thing. She was in the top two with Saphira on that. She was also in the top for the design challenge, for the Goth design challenge. And other than that, though, Nymphia has kind of been fading into the background from the start of the season. She is somebody I had at the top of my power rankings at the very start of the season, but we didn't learn a whole lot about Nymphia. So I don't think Nymphia is at the top of the power ranking at this point. I think she's got a great chance of being a winner if it weren't for the confessionals and content that we get from her. So that's where we've got Nymphia, and that was the story of Nymphia this season. Next we have Plain Jane, who is probably the most consistent queen of the season. She won the talent show with her Burger Finger performance, she won the Snatch Game, she won the Bathroom Design Challenge with Saphira, and last week she won the Makeover Challenge. She never placed low, even though she was clearly low in the non-elimination episode for Power. Technically, she never placed low, and she was always on the top of the judges' radar. We got content about her background, about her struggles in the most recent episodes, so we are getting the full story of Plain Jane. The thing with Plain Jane, though, is that she started the season as a villain. She had a villainous rivalry with a mandatory meeting, and once Amanda was eliminated, though, Plain kind of had a redemption arc. She still is a shady queen, but it's kind of played as a more funny shady, as opposed to what it was originally with Amanda on the show. And for that reason, I think Plain's trajectory has only gone up on the most recent episodes and throughout the season. And if she makes the final two, she has a great shot of being the winner of the season. Up next, we have Q. Q was in the top on the very first episode with her performance in the talent show, and then she went on to win 2 design challenges later on, one for the doll design challenge and one for the goth design challenge. Q has shown that she is a great seamstress, a great designer, probably one of the best in Drag Race history, and I think that is really her strong suit. Beyond that, she's performed well in the acting challenges, she's performed well in kind of the stand-up challenges, but nothing that you would really remember. I remember her brick performance from the sort of SNL parody challenge, but other than that, I don't remember a whole lot about what Q has done this season. Q was given sort of a delusional edit, but not to the extent that it was given to Lucy or Diabetti for the past couple of seasons. She still was shown as a strong competitor throughout, even if she was a little bit delusional, and the edit didn't dunk on her nearly as hard as it did those other 2 queens. The thing with Q is that she just doesn't have the fan support. If you go on Reddit, if you go on the Twitter or Instagram pages of the Drag Race stan accounts, you'll see that people are not really vibing with Q, which is a shame because she is very talented within this season. But if you don't have the fan support, that generally doesn't translate to a win, which is unfortunate for Q. I think she could have a redemption on an all-star season, but at this point, I'm not seeing Q as one of the top picks for the producers for this season. This is how I did my power rankings for this most recent episode. You can see that Plain Jane is number 1 when it comes to track record and number 2 in confessionals and has some great positive vibes around her as she continues forward. In this competition, Sapphira is second with number 2 of track record and number 3 in confessionals with also positive vibes. Maybe not as positive as Plain Jane in the most recent episodes, but still going up. Then we've got Q in 3 and 4 for both those categories, and then finally Nymphia. But Nymphia has some more positive vibes around her among the fandom than Q. What you'll notice is that there's no number 1 and no number 5 in this list. That's because Morphine is number 1 in confessionals. Nobody's going to catch her. She was the narrator of their season. And then Nymphia is still below Dawn, who went home in 6th place. That gives you an idea of how much content these producers are really giving Nymphia. For that reason, I have Plain Jane at number 1 in the power rankings for the first time this season. Sapphira slips to number 2. I've got Nymphia and Q holding down 3 and 4 this week. There might be something crazy where one of the queens goes home in this most recent episode coming out this week. I don't think that'll happen. But if it does, that'll be exciting. First time since season 8. Otherwise, though, I think this is our top 4, and Plain Jane and Sapphira are likely to be the top 2.